You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Hey, everybody, McGillbilly here.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to One More for the Good Guys podcast. And it's also brought to you by our other company, Good Guys Cigars. We are the good guys. Be sure to hit the like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you've done that already, we want to say thank you. If you've came out and supported us in music and or cigar events of different things that we've done throughout the last, 20 years, then thank you as well. Be sure to click on, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to click on notifications. That will allow you to know when the next new video or whatever content that we decide to put up on YouTube, it will get that to you. With the YouTube's restrictions and laws about tobacco use and all that good stuff, then or not so good stuff, then it'll probably be up to you to know when we're coming out with new content. So, all that being said, thanks again. I am smoking the Crowned Heads Broadway, the newest cigar by Crowned Heads. I'm smoking it in the Robusto size. It is a 4.7 by 52 in Robusto, and it is Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and Nicaraguan fillers. What are you smoking today, Jamie?
I am smoking one of our favorites, the Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary.
Oh, baby.
In the number 2, which is the Torpedo 6.1 by 52. It's Nicaraguan Puro, and that means that it's entirely made of Nicaraguan tobacco. I wonder if it's made by Nicaraguan tobacco, but made somewhere else, if it still qualifies as Puro. Like if it's rolled. I
don't think so.
Okay.
I think, not if it's rolled now, I don't know, but I think it, to be a Puro, even if even the seed varietal has to be Nicaraguan.
Okay. Yeah. Probably doesn't have anything to do with where it's rolled.
Totally your question.
No, it was. This is one of our favorites. Has been for a long time. This is my favorite Monte Cristo, period, right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's everything you'd expect. Earthy, coffee, sweet. It got flavor profile. It's all over the place. Complex. Got a 97. It was number 2 cigar of the year in 2024, I think.
Yeah.
And before then.
Yes, it's been number 2
twice.
2 different times.
Twice. And probably one of those times lost to a Cuban cigar, I think. But either way, man, this is, and we know where you can get
it's Manbacco too.
It is. This is
stand up when you pee type of.
That is correct. It is all tobacco. So I highly recommend this. I'm going to smoke it down to burn my fingers.
Yeah. I had one the other night. I hadn't had one in quite some time, and I found those by a happy accident way back in the day, and ordered I think I got that and the La Historia, EPC La Historia.
It's a pretty good trip to the brick and mortar.
It was like a 10-pack. It was 5 and 5, and they were saying it was the number 2 cigar of the year bundle, or whatever. Right. Not bundle, but you know what I'm saying. But at any rate, and of course, both cigars are tremendous. I like that one a little better than I do the La Historia, but I like it as well. But
I do too, but I'm not going to, if you hand me either one of them, I'm going to snatch your hand off to get it, because these are.
Yeah. If you haven't, on our One More for the Good Guys podcast on our Instagram page, I put a post up a while back about, I think people get scared of the Bellicoso or the Torpedo because they don't understand. It's, just by pure physics alone, it's not going to draw like the surface area being this big versus being that big.
These are exact same ring gauge. That's a 52. So's this.
Yeah.
This box pressed.
But the surface area of your where you're concentrating on your draw, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be like every other cigar. But if you get a stick such as that one, go take a look at that post, and I literally cut the tiniest amount off of that. Now, the reason being, and the draw and everything was fine. And the reason being, you can always go more. Okay. So if you haven't cut enough, you can always cut a little more if that's what you want to do. But those rollers and those blenders decided to do that shape because it's going to hit your palate differently. The volume of smoke's not going to be as much. And so it's going to create a new smoking experience for you. So go take a look at that, read what I wrote, look at the pictures. Don't be afraid of bellicosos or torpedoes. Like I said, worst comes to worst, you cut them down to where you're smoking a Toro or a Robusto, but I'm a big fan of them. I like the mouthfeel of the taper and everything with it. But at any rate,
I'm a big fan of that shape in this.
Yeah.
This, the actual one that got the 97 was the number 2.
Yeah.
Torpedo, they call it. So don't be afraid of them. Like you said, and cut as little as possible, and you can keep cutting. It's no shame in cutting it twice or 3 times, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I gave a very detailed post about that. So check that out. Great cigar.
Man.
This one I'm hoping is going to be so far so good. We love the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper varieties. They have an inherent sweetness to them. They're a little rugged. They're a little rustic in appearance, but always deliver great flavor and come off of that really white ash. But this is the newest offering from Crown Heads, and we just got these in. And of course, the first thing you probably think of when you hear Broadway is, New York City, right? Broadway, the plays on Broadway, Cats, all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. But this was actually made and named appropriately for the Broadway that runs through downtown Nashville, where so many of the great, late and great and soon to be country music stars got their start on Lower Broadway. It goes right in front of the Ryman Auditorium. Ernest Tubbs Record Shop was there. That was pretty much the epicenter of Nashville for the longest time. And, when you got done with the show at the Ryman Auditorium, you could walk over to Ernest Tubbs Record Store and see those people who performed on the Opry do a show. There's a classic picture in one of the books of Loretta Lynn standing on Coca-Cola cartons because she wasn't tall enough to be seen from all the way for just the drove of people that were all lined up all the way out.
Which was
door.
Also a scene in Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yes.
They had that scene in there.
And so it's a nod to Broadway. And I'm smoking it for the very first time. I have not had this cigar before. We got them in a few weeks ago. We've let them acclimate and sit like we do. And so coming to you for a live review on it here today as well. It's offered in 3 different sizes, a Robusto Extra, which is what we're smoking, a 4.7 by 52, an Epicure, a 5.5 by 56, and a Toro in a 6.5 by 54. Of course, you guys know we carry a lot of the Crown Head stuff. We're fans of theirs. Packaging on this is beautiful. Box is beautiful. It's got the TriStar, which represents the TriStar from the Tennessee state flag. It's in the gold and the red and the blue and the white of the flag colors for the state of Tennessee.
Which is also
well.
more for the Good Guys logo.
It is. And I wonder if the way they've highlighted these little dots all the way, the gold dots inset in blue around the word Broadway. I wonder if that's to kind of mimic a marquee.
Looks like it.
Doesn't it?
Great design. It's beautiful.
Yeah, great design. So looking forward to smoking this. We'll let you know what my final thoughts are on this, and of course Jamie's final thoughts on his.
I can tell you what my final thoughts are going to be.
Yeah,
buy all these you can get. There's my final thoughts.
But if you want to know more about these cigars that we're smoking today, and or cigars that we've had on other episodes in the past, be sure to go to Good Guys Cigars. We can't say it out loud, right? We'll get flagged. We'll be labeled as infidels by the YouTube's police. So, at any rate, you can find more about these cigars and others by going to Good Guys Cigars. What are we talking about today? Well, I came up with the idea the other day. We were leaving one of our events, and I said, hey, be thinking about this. And we can have more if you want. But
putting a limit on it's fun, but there's a lot of folks that would fall into this category for me.
Yeah.
But
we came up with the, if you could, and this is imagination. This is pure
fun
fantasy. If you could have a dream come true, or a wish, a genie in a bottle, but without Brandy and the knife. See what I did there?
I like it.
Then who would be the 5 people that you would like to sit down and have a cigar with? Some famous cigar smokers, just real quick. Obviously, probably the most influential and most famous in history. Some of these names, but Winston Churchill, Fidel Castro, Schwarzenegger, John F. Kennedy, Michael Jordan, Mark Twain, George Burns, Babe Ruth, Jack Nicholson, Clint Eastwood, and on and on. Well, look, they have Bill Clinton in here. He did not inhale. And he made dipping his cigar famous as well as
it really did.
Just as much as Arnold and his tequila trick. But I digress. So, who are the 5 folks you would want to sit down and have a cigar with? And it can be anybody. I mean, I think some of the people on our list, I do not know I don't know who's Jamie has picked. He don't know who I've picked. But I think some of them might be surprising to you. But if you have somebody that you would really like to have a cigar with, then put it in the comments and let us know. And if you've got any other kind of show ideas, well, you can get that to us as well. Well, I have certainly flapped my gums enough.
Okay, so I'll start then.
You want to start?
Since you've been gum flapping.
Yeah.
The first person I thought of when you said
Stay
this,
lit too, by the way.
and I don't know why this is, but I started getting in my psyche about it to figure out why. And I figured out why. So here goes. Number 1 on my list, not number 1, there's no order to these, but the first person I thought of was Jackie Gleason. And here's why. Jackie Gleason was one of my intros as a child to television. Because even though, born in 74, this was long over by then, but the Honeymooners were in syndication on every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? You come in from school, that was...
Yeah. And, I know the connotation with the Honeymooners, Bang, Zoom, Alice, all that. Forget that. I was a kid.
Lighten up, people.
Lighten up, yeah.
God damn.
So, but Jackie Gleason is one of the people, and maybe one of the last of those people, that represents what I think of as old Hollywood. Like, he was a superstar. right? Jackie Gleason was a superstar, but for reasons that most people aren't. Okay, first of all, here's something that's to note. The Honeymooners only lasted one season.
Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. Started out on the Jackie Gleason show and as a skit and then carried over. So I've seen those episodes over and over and over again and thinking about what kind of impact that show had on television in general, but also on me as a kid. Because that's when I first got home from school. You know, that's the happiest part of your day when you're done with school for the day.
Yeah.
And it was on. And then
you survived the seniors on the school bus.
Yes, survived the seniors. And so I started delving into him as I grew up and finding out, you know, he was in some movies. He was in The Toy with Richard Pryor. When we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
He was in The Toy. He was also in The Hustler. That was before our time, but I've watched that many, many times. He portrayed Minnesota Fats in that with Paul Newman. And then Smokey and the Bandit, the trilogy, you know.
Sheriff Buford T. Justice.
But on top of all that, listen to this right
now. Look here, boy.
Look here, boy. Gleason was a prominent musician and composer.
Really? I didn't know that about him.
Yeah. Enjoyed a prominent secondary music career during the 1950s and 60s, producing a series of best-selling mood music albums. Listen to this stat, his first album, Music for Lovers Only, still holds the record for the longest stay on the Billboard Top 10 charts at 153 weeks ever.
Really?
That's how big Jackie Gleason was in the 50s and 60s.
So I wonder if you can. Okay. Was he singing on that? Was he just playing? Did he just arrange it? Did he just write it? Is it?
Well, that's something I'm still learning. But so his output includes more than 20 singles, 60 albums.
Something you can talk to him about, right?
Yeah, this is what I'd want to talk to him about.
Yeah.
And what I would want to sit down and discuss with him is, because I saw an interview with him right before he died. I mean, not when it happened, but I've watched it several times. And he's just one of those people that was bigger than life.
Oh.
You know, if you think about an actor now or an actress now that kind of is that way, Jack Nicholson's that way. You know, he just had an aura about him and
iconic.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Very much so.
So anyway, that would be my first guy. I really love that show. Anytime it comes on, it doesn't come on that much anymore. He appeared in the hit musical Follow the Girls in 1944. So obviously he did sing to some degree. I'm trying to find out if he actually sang on these records or not. I don't know. I just know that is interesting, and that's the kind of guy I'd want to sit down with and say, hey, tell me what you know. I want a cigar that's going to last about 2 weeks, and I could just sit down and listen to the guy because he died pretty young, you know, considering.
Well, I know he was a big cigarette smoker. Smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, he was a cigarette smoker. I guess he died at 71. So really in 1987, that probably wasn't that young, realistically. But I don't know. There's something about the guy.
It was probably close to the national average, I would say.
I would say you're right during that time.
Well, one of the most iconic things about Gleason, too, that I've heard other comedians talk about is the and what they said about the Honeymooners in general, the show, was the timing, the comedic timing. And if you don't think timing's important in not only in life and love and communication and or comedy or just timing music, I mean, it is something that transcends one genre and or one lifestyle or whatever I'm trying to say here. It transcends all borders.
Right.
Hey, how'd I do on that? Pretty good.
Pretty good. Especially for a honky tonk.
Yeah.
It's really high level there.
Well, I had to slow down on those 3 and 4 syllable, 5 syllable
you
words.
got through it though.
My head hurt after the last couple.
Said he didn't read or write music, or couldn't read music or write it. He just conceived melodies in his head and described them vocally to assistants who transcribed them into musical notes.
Very Otis Redding.
The Honeymooners theme he wrote. You're my greatest love. Yeah. So just one of those people that did it all, could do it all, and did. And
yeah. Well, that's a great pick. I would have never. He's not on my list.
I don't know if we'll have any crossovers. We probably won't.
Yeah, maybe not. I think that's part of the fun of it as well. Is like, we have a lot of similarities, but yeah, I mean, who would you like to have, a cigar with, just to sit down and talk to? And probably number one on my list was, obviously a fella that I never got to meet. He was not a movie star. He was not a film star. But number one on my list of people that I would like to have a cigar with would be my dad's dad, my grandpa. I never got to meet my grandpa. I
didn't either. My dad's dad either.
I never got to meet either one of my grandfathers, and I guess I could just go ahead and get 2 of mine out of the way. I would just like to I would like to sit down and have a cigar. Both were cigar smokers. My grandpa Yardley, who was my mother's dad, he was a World War I veteran, and I just couldn't imagine. I wouldn't want to know anything about the war in general. He was stationed. He was actually in I don't know the right way to say this, a troop and or a unit, whatever the proper terms are for that, battalion, but they were called the Breakthrough Battalion. And there was a time that he was heavily decorated as a soldier, and there was a time where they didn't move for 3 months. I mean, they moved a quarter mile in 3 months,
right?
Day and night, 90 days of fighting for your life in a trench filled with mountains of brass from ammunition casings and dead people.
Right.
I mean, death just when you woke up. But so I wouldn't want to know anything about that side of the war, but I would like to know some of the things my mom tells me about him and the similarities between us that she sees. Would be pretty interesting to have a cigar with somebody like that and see what you take away from it. But, when he came back from the war, he was like I said, was decorated, but was obviously scarred permanently from the war. So that was also during the time of the Woody Guthrie and This Land Is Your Land, This Land's Mine, and the hobo movement. And, he was a hobo. He left.
You wrote a song about it.
Yeah, I wrote a song called The Hobo Blues.
We haven't done it in a while. We should do it.
We should do that one. But yeah, so I would like to sit down and just, you think about that because we'll say this was what? World War I was what? 1915 through 19, somewhere around in there. Is that, that's roughly.
Well, it was
1917
through 18, I think.
Okay. So.
Yeah, 14 through 18.
But just think, he had to go to how did they get to Germany? There weren't there. I mean, this was at a time where cavalry still rode on horseback. Guns, supplies, of all type, ammunition, everything got moved by horses.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a big C-130 plane that would haul 600 of them over and get you to Germany in 12 hours. They had to ride a boat and go all the way around the damn Horn of Africa.
Yeah,
I just wonder what that was like for an 18-year-old kid from Mascot to travel halfway across the world to realize that somebody's trying to kill him. I couldn't. But there's a lot of other things I would like to ask him about. When he came back, he straightened his life up finally and was a revered person in the neighborhood, and people that respected him always sought his counsel to talk to him about different things. And he worked for the Fontana Dam project. Was a painter. So I'd like to have a cigar with him. And then my grandfather, McGill, my dad's dad, was, I have seen pictures of him. And then my mom always tells me, there's so much of him that I see in you as well. And you're talking about a guy who had hardly no or any education at all and was a sharecropper all his life. Big cigar smoker and big in stature in cigar smoker. Big, I have a picture. My mom has a picture of him and my grandmother. And he's got his hand on her knee. They're sitting side by side.
Yeah.
And it looks like, fingers look like a Gordo 60 ring gauge cigar or sausages.
That's how my granddad was. Just a big man. Yeah.
And I don't know where I got left out and all that. I guess it all went to my belly instead of my, my height or other places. So not a single word out of you. But at any rate, I'd like to sit down and talk to him about his life and where he came from. And my dad always said when my grandfather ran out of tobacco, people scattered.
Didn't want to mess with him.
And he carried, he was very, both of those guys came from, I would imagine, obviously from the same time, the same era, right? But one was a little different. My mom said her dad was very quiet and reserved and was a thinker and, would a good listener and always had great advice. My dad said the same thing about him. And then my dad's dad was fiercely loyal and nobody's going to mess with anybody. Right. He carried a big hawksbill knife, and wasn't afraid to use it, evidently.
Yeah. We might have had the same granddad.
Yeah. So that would be my first two picks. I don't mean to double up on you or try to, but it was just like the grandpa thing.
Your game.
Yeah, but we were going one by one, but I just figured that would be.
Let's count that as one. I mean, it's the same kind of vibe. Okay. I mean, and on top of that, I'll throw in a double on mine then, since we're doing that, because my dad's brothers, my dad had two brothers, and his oldest brother, Guy, I knew, and he died when I was 11 or 12, I think. But my dad's brother, the middle brother, his name was Sam Akins. My brother's named after him, and he was a kind of a mythical kind of guy. In other words, bigger than life. Everybody loved him. Everybody loved. I never heard anybody say a bad word about him. Died in 1959 of leukemia when he was 24, I believe he was. My dad loved him. He and my grandmother talked about him till she died. And that was, 2011. So, but he was one of those like Paul Bunyan kind of characters. I remember this time when Sam carried these two buckets up the stairs and it broke the stair. Yeah, that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Movie star looks the part. There's no doubt in my mind that he would have been mayor or maybe even, God, who knows? He had that kind of charisma about him. Like when he went off to the war as well, or the service, and his sergeant liked him so much they used to go fishing together. They were buddies, so that kind of character. And to double down, I knew my granddad on my mama's side. He died, and not a whole lot. He died when I was 8. But my granddad on dad's side, same. And so Sam's daddy, he died in 1973, the year before I was born. And he was also one of those, they called him Bigfoot. He never wore shoes.
Okay. Was that the one? Okay.
He never wore shoes. Okay. Dad said he used to roll his own cigarettes. They look like turds. But I've heard story after story after story of, here's one of those stories, heard this many times.
Of Bigfoot.
My dad said, he goes, Dad never got in a hurry when he was driving. And one time, him and I forget who was with him. He was with him. They were driving. These young punks were behind him, kind of riding his bumper and whatever else. And they did it for a while. And finally, they went around and they come up to a stoplight. And my granddaddy Butch got out of the car. Another guy got out with him. And he just reached in that car on the driver's side and pulled that kid out and set him right up on top of the car, like this right here, and shook him a little bit. And the guy that was with him pulled out a big Bowie knife and had it to the other guy's throat. He just one of those guys that put up with no bullshit.
Yeah.
Dad, he used to be constable in Varnell.
Or dawdling service.
Dawdling service. That's right. That kind of guy. He was constable for a while. And he arrested these old boys for being drunk or whatever, and they decided they were going to come to the house and whoop Papa Butch. I've heard this story a bunch. And I think Paul Akins was there, who was his daddy, and who apparently was a genius. That's another story. And so they came, and from what I understand, Paul Akins said, yeah, he's back over at the barn. And they went over there, and my granddad beat the dog piss out of both of them. He said Paul Akins said I think it was Paul Akins. It might have been I'm pretty sure it was. It might have been my grandmother's daddy, but one of the two. So the last sight they got of those guys, he was kicking their ass literally down the street as they were running away. So he was that kind of, so much so Bud Brewster lived down the street from me. Okay. I worked at Bud for Pick and Grin for years. Right. And Bud grew up down there, down the road from my daddy. And he said, when I started shopping there and he goes, Jamie, was your papa, was he Bigfoot? I said, absolutely. My Bud Brewster knew him. He was one of those characters that everybody knew. The first thing he asked my mama, she told this story all the time. First thing, not hello, not how you doing, nice to meet you. He said, are you Republican or Democrat?
Oh, God. Wow.
He was a staunch Republican back then. My grandmother used to say that he would go to people. Now, this is in the 50s. And he was born in 1913. So he would go to people and he said, back then there were, even down there was a mixed race and whatever. And they had some black neighbors and whatever. And he would go to all of them. And he would say, do you understand that the Republicans freed you from slavery? And he would actually have an intelligent conversation about them to them and try to pitch it. But yeah, if you were Democrat, he didn't want nothing to do with you.
Well, history tells us the Republican Party then was a lot different than it is today.
Oh, both parties.
Both parties.
Not even recognizable today.
Sure.
So, but either way, that is not. Just so we're clear, that is not me saying, "Hey, vote Republican." It's saying my granddaddy.
That's not shit.
Because there ain't never been a libertarian bigger than this guy over here ever.
No.
But what I'm telling you is that guy was special, and both of them. Apparently, my uncle got that from him too. That charisma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, my dad's grandpa was. He was like that a lot from the stories that I've heard, from this small stature of a man on my mom's dad, who was quiet and full of wisdom and, had already seen. I mean, that's the other thing I'd like to ask was just the fact that how many times did he cheat death over there?
Oh, yeah.
And then when back here, there was nothing on, I just can't imagine that there would be nothing on this planet that would either not, I'm trying to choose my words correctly here because it's the way I feel and it's important, but what is there to worry about? What's the worst? He's already seen the absolute worst in humanity in every shape, form, sense, or fashion. What is he just going to come back and be a raving lunatic and just, or that shaped him into being that guy that sought the wisdom in things to where that kind of stuff didn't happen ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my dad's dad was, they were so poor. But they, even in the era, so my dad was born in 1934. Well, obviously cars didn't have cranks on them anymore.
Right.
But one of the first cars my dad can remember as a kid was an Overland.
Never heard of it.
And this was, I don't know if it was called a baby Overland. That's all I know it just from what they say. But this was in the 40s, I would imagine. I can't imagine being able to remember, truly remember, until he was probably at least, there you go, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. But they were coming, they were all loaded up. There's like 10 of them, they kind of reminded me, my dad's side of the family kind of reminded me a little Jerry Clower-ish, like the typical, kind of like what we picture with Italian families, that they're going to live together forever.
Right.
And everybody is just as happy. And this is no knock on nationalities or anything. It's just things that we learn.
Always food cooking.
There's always food cooking. There's always something happening. There's always family. And if nobody ever got married or even if you did, you still live there, that kind of thing. But they were coming home from somewhere and the police pulled him over. And of course, my grandpa gets out. And I guess he just keeps getting out. Yeah. And keeps getting out because he's a big old man, and he's got the crank in his hand because he's got to start his damn car back up.
Sure.
And my dad said that the police were just like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, hey, look, we're not wanting.
Yeah.
And he was very gruff and straight to the point. And he's like, well, what the hell did you make me stop for? Or something of that nature. And they were like, we just wanted to know what kind of car you were driving. We've never seen a car like that. And what are you doing? Put that away. And he's like, I'll go get the damn thing started since you all had so much to learn. and yeah, so that's, and then he told my dad the first time my dad took my mom over to meet the family. He said, and then, or not the first time they met, but they said they were going to get married. And because my mom was not a big lady, but he told my dad, he said, "Son, you're getting ready to marry you a doctor, Bill."
Really?
Yes, like
right in front of her.
Yeah, he can give two flying shits about nothing.
Jesus Christ!
But she said that they got along great, because if anybody knows my mom, she don't take no shit off of,
right.
And if you don't want to know her true opinion of something, don't ask, because she's going to tell you the truth.
I'm one of those.
I am too.
Come right honestly,
and but so she had fight, she had vigor, she had spirit, and my grandpa McGill loved that, because. And she told me this the other day, and I didn't ever know this, but she would always, for Christmas or birthday, she would either get him a new flannel shirt or jacket or underwear, of course, socks, but she always got him a box of cigars.
Oh,
for Christmas or birthday and stuff. So I'd just like to see and meet, and I think it'd be pretty interesting. So
I've always wanted to go back and just be a fly on the wall to see my parents and my grandparents grow up, just to see what they were like in real life when they were 18.
Oh God!
I just wanted to see. I want to see that.
See if they were big as shit asses as you were when you were 18.
Yeah, I want to see,
because they were. They were.
I want to go back and see that. So.
Yeah.
All right, who you got next?
Well, I've got one of the persons on my list would be Arnold Jacob Auerbach. I'd love to sit down. And I was a little torn on putting this guy on the list from other stories that I've heard about him from some people, that maybe he wasn't as not, like it's that old adage, don't ever meet your heroes.
Yeah.
One of those type of things, but certainly a iconic figure in history and an iconic cigar smoker. But Arnold Jacob Auerbach, you're like, who the hell is Arnold Jacob Auerbach? Well, he was better known as Red Auerbach. He was the American professional basketball coach and later to become executive of the Boston Celtics, one of the all-time winningest sports franchises in history. Avid cigar smoker, and all the way up till the day he passed, when he was at a game, he used to intentionally light cigars when he knew the game was out of reach, and it was a signal to the other team of
on the court.
And there was a symbol of victory, and there's nothing you can do.
Back when you could still smoke in the stadium.
And even when they banned it years later,
it's Red Auerbach.
It was Red Auerbach, and
do what he wants.
He was the only one that was permitted to light up.
I bet,
and he would still do it whether he was in the stands or, of course, he wasn't on court side anymore. But for a lot of reasons, I'd like to meet him. I'd like to meet him to. I guess one of the biggest reasons I would like to meet him was because he was so instrumental in such a highly documented racist time and city of Boston. Boston as a city was so subdivided into ethnic neighborhoods, and there was no crossing those boundaries. But and back then, in the early days, say like the 50s or whatever, but on up into the 60s, that the basketball players were predominantly white. And I think what he did by putting
the first starting black five in the NBA.
The first starting black five in the NBA, and didn't even think about it, was just that was the best players on the team. And then to have people such as Bill Russell that admired him and looked at him for things like that, and never making any issue over race and all that. And of course, Bill Russell himself going on to be one of the biggest activists for equality in what am I trying to say?
Civil rights.
Thank you.
Which tells me all I need to know about Red Auerbach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because look, Bill Russell's the greatest winner in basketball history. Nobody's going to challenge that. And also, obviously, was very highly involved in civil rights through his career and after and up to his death. And the way he talked about Red, that's all I need to know. That's it. Because you know what? You're going to find somebody to say bad things about anybody.
Of course.
Okay. Warranted or not. Right. And you know what? I didn't even consider this when picking my list. I didn't pick cigar smokers. I didn't know that we were necessarily supposed to. So I just.
Well, you're not. I mean, there was no caveat. They had to be a cigar smoker or not. No, that's not,
Okay.
I mean, my granddad was, my mom's dad was a cigarette smoker, but if
they were all smokers then.
Yeah.
That was the thing to do. That was the,
Yeah. No, there was no, that's what you sent me a text, and I was just like, no, I don't care. It's just whoever you would like to, whether they smoke it with you or they don't. But Auerbach went on to win 16 championships, being one of the most successful team officials in the history of North American professional sports, NBA to be specific. I would like to ask him about his, I think he was a Russian Jew or what? No, I can't remember. I don't know. I don't think he was Jewish. I can't remember off of the, there's a great, there's a great documentary on Bill Russell's life, and then I don't know what streaming service it's on, but look for it. And then there's another one on the Celtics, something City, that's on HBO Max. That's the history of the Celtics from the earliest to the latest. That's really, really good. But I'd just like to hear, his thoughts, how the sport's changed, how times in general changed.
I want to know why he smoked Candela wrappers.
Well,
ask him that when you see him.
Well, back then, I think the answer is quite simple. That was like one of the only types of wrappers that you could get.
Huh, I didn't know that. And he was green.
But he smoked Hoya de Monterrey, double Corona, which is like a 7.5 by, I would say back then, probably like 48, something like that. Big cigars, big green cigars.
Yeah, when he sat in on one, he stayed for a while, didn't he?
Yeah. But at any rate, Red Auerbach would be one of my choices, not just because he was someone just the important things he'd done in history. He was a cigar smoker, and I love the Celtics.
He was a winner,
and he's a winner.
All right, my next guy, which will be, what have I said? My third one, right?
Yeah,
is the original rock star. Long before rock and roll was around, because I like to read so much and I write stuff, I had to put a writer on this list. Okay. Now, as much as I'd like to sit down with Mark Twain and laugh my ass off, because that's how that would go. Mark Twain was going to be on my list, but there's one person I would want to meet with first, and that's Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
For many reasons. One of the reasons is basically he invented, not only was his writings obviously very influential, he died at age 40. He married his cousin when she was 13. There's some Jerry Lee action for you right there. I don't know. I mean, some of the stuff this guy did in 40 years is unbelievable. Okay. One of the country's first successful practitioners of the short story. He's considered the first well-known American writer to actually earn a living exclusively through writing. He invented, and this, everybody I've ever read says this, that, you think Edgar Allan Poe, you think, horror stuff, right? Like the intro to, hell, I just lost it. But, even the poems, the Raven, spooky, whatever, Annabelle Lee, poems one side, obviously very quotable, memorable things. But over here, you had these stories like The Pit and the Pendulum, or the one called The Black Cat, The Telltale Heart. The one about the house. I'm going brain dead right now. But on top of all that, he is considered to have invented detective fiction. And a significant contributor, if not the first science fiction writer. Okay. All that, on top of all that, he was in the military for a while.
He went to West Point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a film. It's a fiction story, but there's a person who plays Edgar Allan Poe in it.
It's got
there's some well-known actors.
Well, Christian Bale's in it.
Yes,
you told me about that, and I watched.
It was very good.
It is very good, and it's period.
And it paints him as.
Sure does.
Very accurately the way you're describing things,
I have been in his house in Philadelphia.
To heart.
Romantic at heart, but just very troubled.
Yeah.
Lost his love. She died from tuberculosis. And anyway, just a tormented, he's the first rock star, man. It was really, without the music, he just, you start reading, you're like, oh, this guy was but I just remember reading The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh yeah,
which is now was a Netflix series.
Yeah, they did
loosely, not really based on that, but the intro to that is one of the best things I've ever read.
One of the hottest actresses alive ever in it, Carla Gugino.
Yeah, Son-in-Law, that girl.
Whoa,
right. Remember that movie Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore, where he was her.
I don't know.
That's who it is. That. Carla. Oh no, she was. That was the original. Okay. That's back when I was a young man.
I remember the movie, but she
was the girl that he went home to the farm with.
I don't.
But anyway,
Yes.
Poe was the kind of guy. Yeah. She's also in Sin City.
Sin City, yeah. Anyway, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's just like I am attracted to biographies of people that were tormented yet still got shit done. I mean, nobody on this earth would say Edgar Allan Poe was not influential or had a terrible career, right? We're still talking about him 200 years nearly later.
Yeah.
And, I read his stuff and go back and read it. It's just so.
In a lot of literature courses, it's required.
Oh, yeah, should be.
You know
should
what
be.
I mean?
If you fancy yourself.
He's definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, if you fancy yourself a writer or a reader, if you don't have any Edgar Allan Poe stuff, then you're probably a phony, for real. So anyway, I just feel like that guy is shrouded in mystery, died mysteriously. They don't know if it was his alcoholism, if it was suicide. They don't know. All kinds of mystery around the guy. I'd like to sit down with him. Now, you may not be able to talk to some bitch. He may just sit there and stare at you. He might have been really fucked up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
But I would still like to have the opportunity to say, hey, how fucked up are you? Like, really? Who is Annabelle Lee? Exactly. Like, I want to know who that is. Anyway, one at the top of my list. Mark Twain, as far as authors go, would be a very close second. And obviously, he knows more about cigar smoking than probably anybody.
Mark Twain, yeah.
And he is the American equivalent of
We'll get there.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Anyway, that would have been my other choice. But Edgar Allan Poe for me.
Real quick, just to backtrack, some of Auerbach's career highlights: 9-time NBA champion, NBA Coach of the Year, 11-time NBA All-Star Game head coach, NBA anniversary team, the 25th, 35th anniversaries, the top 10 coaches in NBA history, top 15 coaches in NBA history, 7-time NBA champion as an executive and NBA Executive of the Year. He had a 938 479 win-loss record as a coach. But one of the key roles that he played in what we were talking about that I didn't do a very good job on being was he played a key role in decreasing racial discrimination in the NBA. In 1950, he drafted Chuck Cooper, who was the NBA's first African-American player. And in 1965, that Jamie talked about was he introduced the first African-American starting five. And in 1966, as an executive, he hired Bill Russell as the NBA's first African-American coach. So,
who
would be
won
somebody,
a championship as player coach in his last season as a player, correct? Russell started his career with a championship and ended it with a championship. So look back to Edgar Allan Poe. Red Auerbach's one of my heroes. So listen to this opening paragraph. It was a dark and soundless day near the end of the year, and clouds were hanging low in the heavens. All day I'd been riding on horseback through country with little life or beauty, and in the early evening I came within view of the house of Usher. I do not know how it was, but with my first sight of the building, a sense of heavy sadness filled my spirit. 1800s. Okay. Anyway, genius, mad genius. And Auerbach is, well, he signed Larry Bird. That's all I need to know about him.
Yeah. Well, certainly a great list so far. And if you're just catching up or maybe you skipped ahead and didn't watch everything, we are talking about the 5 people that we would love to have sit down and actually have the opportunity to have a cigar with. Recapping that list, my number 1 choice was my grandfather on my mother's side. My number 2 pick was the grandfather on my father's side, both who I didn't get to meet. And number 3 was the legendary coach and NBA executive general manager of the Boston Celtics, Red Auerbach. Your first was?
My first was Jackie Gleason, actor, musician. My second was my uncle, Sam, who was my dad's middle brother. And my dad was the youngest. And then, and my third was Edgar Allan Poe.
Very good. Well, we smoke cigars on this channel. We talk about cigars. We have a cigar company. These cigars, just to catch everybody back up, I'm smoking the Crown Heads and the Robusto Extra 4.75 by 52 from Crown Heads, the Broadway. So far, I'm about to the end of the second third on this.
Burn line looks good.
Burn line was a little wonky at the first. I did have to do one touch up and one relight, but relights are usually pretty understandable on here but I do think I'm like Dave Garofalo from the Cigar Authority. If they do keep burning, they get extra points, I think, when I don't have to do that. But so far, coming to the end of the second third, has that inherent broadleaf sweetness. I would say medium to full in body, probably medium plus. Really, really enjoyable so far. Lots of sweetness, of the natural sweetness, tobacco sweetness.
And aesthetically beautiful.
Yeah.
Hard to translate on the screen, but it's gorgeous stuff.
Maybe you can fly a picture of both of them up.
And I'm smoking the 1935 Monte Cristo Nicaragua Anniversary Edition. And I smoked one of these the other night of our show and left it for 10 minutes at least and came back at sucker still going.
Oh, the construction on those are impeccable.
This is like taking a good piece of chocolate cake without an icing on it and eating it and it like being really moist. But the aftertaste of that, you're like, Jesus, I wish I had some more chocolate cake. That's where I'm at right now with this one.
Yeah.
Buy as many of these as you can afford. And you can get them at Good Guy Cigars.
All right. This has just got a lot of really nice, typical broadleaf sweetness. And we have these available as well. So, very enjoyable. Not a lot of pepper, which surprises me. It's more baking spice forward than it is. There's some subtle amounts, but
not a whole lot of pepper in this either. Some, but not
very enjoyable.
Not like you would think with a Nicaraguan puro. It's more on the sweet side and subtle pepper, like you said. All right, so who's your fourth? Or is it my turn? No, it's your turn.
Yeah. Well, we'll just go ahead and get the cat out of the bag, but
or I guess this is your third.
Well, I counted both grandpas as 1 and 2. I said that, but I didn't have, when I put my list together, I counted them as 1 and 2. My fourth would actually be another noted cigar smoker. And, again, this is something, in my opinion, probably the most iconic cigar smoker of all time would be, have a cigar with Winston Churchill.
Oh my God.
I mean, the amount of, I am so non-political. I'm a lot like Jamie when you said you've never met a bigger libertarian in your life.
That's me saying I don't give a fuck, basically. But
yeah. Well, what I'm getting at though is you haven't, unless you're looking on the left or right of your screen to the side of you, because I don't either. It really just isn't. But from the adaptations, the stories, the movies, speeches, things that we've got to his readings, his writings, or I shouldn't say readings, his speeches, his writings.
Probably the most quoted person to ever live. Probably.
Yeah. And just, I mean, just the whole thing about Dunkirk of waiting and waiting and waiting and keeping an entire nation of people knowing that they could fall at any minute, as so many of the surrounding countries had done. And the wolf is at the doorstep, on the shores, at the doorstep, and to be steadfast and hold enough to, I mean, just some amazing things that shaped our world and history.
Saved it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, saved it in a lot of ways. Those kind of things. And then, the Churchill challenge of, like, the fella, I mean, hell, there wasn't a time he didn't have a cigar in his hand. There wasn't a time he didn't have a drink. I mean,
if you're a badass enough to have a cigar Vitola named after you.
Yeah. I mean,
they didn't go the other way around. It was,
no,
as
soon as you got up, you went to the bathroom, you bathed,
and you got a cigar lit.
You got all your papers brought to you. You ate breakfast in bed, and you didn't get up before 11 o'clock. And you were the leader of the second largest nation in the free fucking world. Pretty badass.
Lived to be almost 90 years old, too.
Yeah.
Fat, cigar smoking, drunk. Lived to be 90. Right? Basically,
yeah.
Drunk is obviously a overstatement, but he also won a Nobel Prize for literature. So
I was getting ready to say 7 things that you probably didn't know that make him so legendary. He did win a Nobel Prize. He had the sharpest tongue around. He championed the bow tie. We have him to thank for that. Evidently, he was highly accident prone. He was an accomplished painter. So if you think about how most of the film world or movie world, or even fact or fiction, okay, how they portray a true English gentleman, he is a well-rounded individual of the arts and of the civic duties and everything going on.
Yeah, he was old school then. He was like somebody from the Renaissance then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That kind of guy. Leonardo da Vinci of his day in a different way. Just had his hand in everything and was great at it.
Yeah.
Right.
But to live that kind of lifestyle that no one could possibly understand and or maybe ever live up to be that accomplished, and again, a leader of the second largest, the largest allied force in the free world at the time. And to be able to do that, and then, just think about all the shit he had to deal with the Queen and the royals and the whole monarchy and all of that stuff, to juggle all that, plus one of the, the war. In peacetime and in wartime. Of course, he probably seen as much during wartime that the rest of it was like a drop in the damn bucket.
Oh, I'm sure.
Speaking, of things that,
no doubt.
And then not just of the good, but you also know that I would like to ask him, What was the one decision that you made that turned out ultimately good, but you had to you lived with the regret of all the rest of your life? Oh
God, I bet he'd had to have a long time to come up with that. That's probably more than one of them.
The stuff that we don't get to see in the readings and the writings and the adaptations and the film and curiosity about, with the old adage or heavy is the head who wears the crown, and with all of that power and knowledge comes great responsibility.
That's right.
So that would be the things that I would like to learn from him. And why did he insist on his cigars being that size?
Maybe it's what he could get.
I think he had them special made.
I'm sure he did.
And he wanted them in that size specifically. And then because the guy smoked 20 a day.
I had great taste.
15
That's
a day.
One of the sizes we like.
Yeah.
Thank God for him.
And I really love a Churchill when it's the traditional size. When it's a 7x47 or a 7x48.
They still make them.
Something about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be my number 4.
That's a banger
Sir
right there.
Winston Churchill.
Man, I went back and forth on mine. I'm listening. I've got 2 more, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I went back and forth on this one because I was like, do I need to pick somebody that's still alive? It's like, no, I can still have a cigar with them. Ain't over yet. So I've been listening to this podcast called 1865. And it's a dramatized, I highly recommend it. It's a dramatized thing. And the podcast starts when Lincoln gets shot.
Oh yeah.
The Ford Theater.
I remember you telling me about this the other night.
And some of the thing, and you touched on it with Churchill, but some of the things that I would want to know, because a lot of this stuff you can read in books, right?
Yeah.
I want to sit down with Abraham Lincoln. And because making decisions, it's like, okay, can you imagine being president during the Civil War?
No.
I mean, not to take away from what Winston Churchill and all these, Eisenhower and all that crowd did. But damn.
Well,
you're
with all the great, there is that much or more not so great.
I've been in the Ford Theater. You ever been in
you live like that? No, I have not.
You can take a tour at Steel, or last time I went. And now, of course, this thing's dramatized. So, I'm sure they take liberty in a lot of stuff. But I just got to thinking, man, what would it take? What kind of gumption would it take to be a Winston Churchill or an Abraham Lincoln or hell, a Joan of Arc? You know what I'm saying? These people that have done that we're still talking about today. Every time I've ever seen a list of the best presidents of all time, Abraham Lincoln is number 1. I've never seen it not different than that. Washington is usually 2. And then they get into some, newer people. But Lincoln is usually the one. And because think about the impact that the Emancipation Proclamation actually had. Mm-hmm. All right. You've got a country divided. That was an executive order, too, from what I understand. Have you seen the movie Lincoln?
Mm-hmm. Is that the one with Daniel Day-Lewis? Yeah.
Very good. He's obviously won an Oscar for it. But it's an executive order. And basically, from what I've read, broke the law. But it was the right thing to do, obviously. Right? free the slaves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And this podcast talks about, because his vice president was none other than
allowing people to be property.
Yeah.
That's.
And at the same time, now this sounds crazy talk because we're living in an age to where, hindsight's 2020. But I mean, you've got a guy that's sitting up there in the White House with the weight of the world on his shoulders already. And now he's got to pick between the people in the South and the economy of the South, if you will, and doing what's right. You right? Because it's basically
not just to mention the moral.
Well, yeah, that's obvious, but I mean,
but I'm saying of not just the slaves, but from turning families against families and
right. So this talks about this podcast. He's basically dead. Andrew Johnson from Greenville was his vice president, right? Who was a Democrat. Okay. Basically, traditionally. And the podcast is about how are we going to deal with Johnson and what's he going to do? Is he going to screw this whole thing up that we've done and whatever else? But I would just like to, because he was stoic, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of mystery there, and I'd just like to sit down with him and say, okay, after the fact, considering he lived, if he had lived, and say, why did you do that? Why did you go to out in public when the war wasn't, Lee had surrendered, but that the war wasn't over, basically.
No, they were getting their ass kicked.
They were
the Battle of the Potomac they were about to fall to Confederate forces.
Well, and then, Sherman's march to the sea, I forget the general on the Confederate side was still fighting. He was, all right. Yeah. So you got all that going on. And, hey, let's go. It's been 4 years of bullshit. Oh, my God. But can you're sitting there with your wife and you're like, hey, Mary Todd, it's been 4 years of bullshit. Let's go to the theater. Right? Sounds like something you should be able to do. And the planning that went into this and the whatever, I haven't got far enough into it yet, but it's like, how did they know he was going to be there? How did they know when he was going to be there? Anyway, I just like to sit down with the man and say, look, what are you thinking? What's going on up here? Because he lived, and his wife was very tormented. They lost their kid too. And anyway, it just an interesting. I went back and forth between him and Washington because there's obviously some weight to be carried when you're founding a nation.
Yeah.
Right. But
Washington didn't want it. He just wanted to be a soldier.
Yeah.
And then this whole idea of, like you say, founding a nation and having a founding father and, this whole president thing.
You know how they go back?
I want to know real quick. I just, the questions I would want to ask is how we know all the great things, the history and the accolades and all that, but how did you get to that? What was the reasoning behind it? And why was it worth it when you knew there was so much to sacrifice and lose? Even to get not just a victory as we know victory, but a victory for the humankind.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Gettysburg?
I have not.
If listeners out there, if you've not been to Gettysburg, you need to go. Okay. Because one, it's an important place. But when you stand in the place to where he gave the Gettysburg Address, it's like, that was the turning point of the war, basically. Anyway, it just amazes me. I'd like to see what kind of person that guy was really.
Yeah.
Just me and him. And what he would talk about. What would he talk about? His days as a kid? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he may have as many, every one of these people that's not living, if they are dead today, might have the exact same types of questions for you.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I'm sure he's going to be interested. Like, what's this thing you're holding in your hand here? It's the bane of Satan. That's what it is. But yeah, I picked him. And of course, I went around with it, but Lincoln's the one I'd want to sit with.
I think that's great. I mean, like I say, that those important historical figures like that would be my greatest curiosity. Like if I had picked Kennedy, I would say, so who do you think shot you?
Yeah.
Why do you think? What it was we're past any point of repercussion of any kind.
Well, they're all dead, right?
Right.
Yeah,
but
who do you think?
Yeah.
Did you have Maryland
sort of
killed?
thing.
That's what I want to know.
Well, yeah. I mean, all of that stuff.
I'd ask him. What's going to do? It's already dead.
Yeah. Why did you and Bobby decide to throw that girl off the bridge?
That was the brother. That was Ted there.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I get it.
I'm sure Bobby had something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, that's there again, for those historical people, there is much of the accolations as they've received through. Those decisions didn't all just come from a drop of a hat or saying this is what there were serious amounts of deliberation,
yes,
and concentration, and odds weighed,
right,
of trying to come up with things that. And what does that feel like? To know that you're getting ready to make a decision that could change the world forever as we know it. What kind of, I mean, I can wear mismatched socks if I want to. Nowadays, you don't even get your ass kicked for that. The funkier the socks, the better. Like, I mean, from the day to day, and now obviously we make a lot of important decisions just being a common person such as ourselves and or you, our listeners, or anybody else. We don't have to have, I mean, there's life-changing decisions you have to make as a parent every day. There's life-changing decisions you have to make as a person to so I'm not saying, but when you know the weight of the world is hanging on every ounce and every being of your decision of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's a much rarer thing to be faced with a decision that you already know is going to change the world. That probably doesn't come along very often. You make decisions all the time that change the course of your life, that you look back on, you're like, man, if I'd gone down this path instead, I'd been in a bad shape or whatever.
Sure.
But when you're faced with a decision where you've got two choices and it's immediately going to change everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. And I want to know what went into that decision other than it's the right thing to do. What else went into that decision?
I think the reason I thought about stuff like that too, for being curious about that, is like, that's the one thing I took away from the Oppenheimer movie, was the fact he knew what it meant. And I don't think he ever could quite convince and or explain, or the powers that be actually knew. I mean, I guess they did in a way, but they didn't have to bear it like that guy had to bear it. You know what I'm saying?
That was Pandora's box there. By it was going to happen one way or another, even from an energy standpoint, but to create a weapon out of something like that, and to know I mean, you're right. That's a very good example. That's another decision making. But how much choice did he have? Anyway, that we can talk about that all day. Who's your next one?
Okay, so my last one, we've talked about films, we've talked about movies, we've talked about all kinds of different genres, we've talked about all kinds of stuff. My number 5 choice is really long in the tooth. And, it wouldn't surprise me if we got the over the ticker today that this fella passed away just due to his age and everything.
I know where this is going, and I thought about this today. But go ahead.
I'd like to have a cigar and a drink with Clint Eastwood.
Well, that's not who I thought she was going to say, but that's another one that I thought you were going to say Willie Nelson. But
yeah,
which is another one that's at death's door, can't be very far.
Willie would be a great one too.
Although Clint's older than Willie.
Yeah,
I think Clint's 95 ish.
Yeah,
still directing. That's a good one because
but I'd like to. I mean, I think the music. Yes, would I like to have a cigar with Merle Haggard? Hell yeah. Would I like to have a cigar with Willie? Hell yeah. Would I like to have had a cigar with Johnny Cash? Hell yeah.
Any of those people. Jerry Lee.
I feel like because my life has been so primarily music centric, I know so much more about their life and their recorded life from their song, from their biographies, stuff like that Eastwood intrigues me. How did he stay that relevant, that stoic, that important, that calm, cool, collected, how, and still stay in Hollywood all those years and be able to navigate that game, that career path when, he may secretly love everything Hollywood does and is about. He may secretly despise it. He may secretly despise it, but I guess that's the intriguing part of it's certainly the same way in the music business, but how do you travel that? How do you navigate your way through such a business that has such a stigma of ugliness?
Yeah, and growing ugliness. He got into it back when it probably wasn't as bad. Well, the thing that always made me wonder about him is that along those same lines, as far as, he may not be. I don't know. This is something you could ask him.
If you're watching.
If you're watching. He comes across in his, like his politics are not like Hollywood's. Let's just say that. He was a mayor of one of the towns in California for a while.
But I'm not sure on what side he ran, if he was Republican or Democrat, but
I can remember back when he did that. I think it was Flags of Our Fathers. Was
not
that here?
There's that much of a difference. But
yeah,
he did Flags of Our Fathers.
He's somebody that's gone through his career not giving a damn what people said or thought either.
I think that's one of the key things about a lot of the famous people on our lists, and not just who you'd like to have a cigar with, but our list of individuals, stars or powerful figures. I think fearlessness is needed. I think it's needed in knowing what you want to do. I think it's needed in succeeding in what you want to do. And I think it's something that's dying out because everybody is so concerned about I heard a comedian talking about it today, and it's not a comedic point of view. It was it was from a rational person's point of view. You know, now he twisted it to make it funny at the end of it, but I can't wait to see the Epstein list. I can't wait to see the Diddy this. I can't wait to see the whatevers about all of the ugly,
conspiracy,
terrible
bullshit
things and that people want to see. And, well, guess what? You're never going to fucking see them. Okay.
You're not going to see the real list.
Ever.
Yeah.
You're never going to know who shot Kennedy. Not really. Ever. So quit fucking worrying about it.
Yeah.
Go on with your life. Take care of your children. Take care of your family. And, and have the same kind of fight and piss and vinegar that you think you have for wanting to know the truth, because in the end, not everybody wants to know the damn truth.
I got a feeling that
yours truly included.
Me,
I mean, come on. I'm not
certain
excluding.
Topics. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not excluding myself, and nor would I think Jamie would exclude himself from that either. Now, horrible in all accounts, not permittable. Not permissible. It's not anything that we stand for or I stand for. I shouldn't say we, because I'm speaking for you, but you're never going to see, you're never going to know. And as long as you are, you're going to miss out on every joy that you could be having in your life to further yourself and do more for you and the others that you love, where you can actually make a damn difference. Yep. Now, that's just my 2 cents. You can like it, love it, tell me to fuck off, hate it, whatever. But I think that type of fearlessness is lost in a lot of today's societies, because it may cost us a like. It may cost us this. It may cost us that. In the popularity contest that is, whatever this shit is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yes. I'm like that too, because I don't give a shit. Number one. You're
not selling tickets in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
We got to do something about this. Go fuck yourself.
That's right.
We'll sell tickets and well, you don't need to be playing a room that's less than 600 people. No. I mean, I think I'm like Marty Stewart a lot of times when he came back and tried to, after he lost his deal and tried to restart his career, he got a booking agent that he told him, we want to do the county fairs. We want to do the small rooms. We don't care anything about trying to be on a collaborative show with this, that, and the other, or, running a huge tour with tour bus or with, stage shows and blah, blah, blahs. We just want to go play music.
Yeah. Success is measured differently by everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't think you would ever sit down with Marty Stewart and him feel like he hasn't been a success or had a successful life. And or Clint Eastwood, for that matter.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But I think a little bit of that fearlessness of putting, not in a narcissistic way or a selfish way, but putting you and yours first and making a change at home first before you think you're going to go out and conquer and change the fucking world.
Yes. Right.
It's just like I don't mean this to be political, but although we've said several political figures in history, but you can vote for whoever you want, but you're not going to do anything unless you start voting your general elections, your primaries locally. That's where it starts.
Well, you said it too. Where it really starts is right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can't manage yourself If you can't change yourself, you're not going to change the world. The world's going to change you 100% of the time. You go and read all these. That's why I read biographies and stuff. I want to know where they screwed up, because, we get to see, especially now.
Can't sing that verse on that song on your ABC show that's named after you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then go sing in any fucking way.
Right. That's exactly right. So.
Sorry.
Yeah. You talking about Elvis?
And Johnny Cash.
Yeah, or whoever. Yeah. All those guys.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood would be a good one.
Yeah. I think that's what I'd like to know. How he was able to navigate that lifestyle. And I think, with all those people, and I'm guessing, that they would say it started with me.
Sure.
And what I wanted to do and what I thought was best for people, me and mine.
Right.
I mean, you would ultimately think that's part of coaching mentality.
Yeah.
With our back. Now, there probably has to be a little bit deeper weighting going on of between like Lincoln and Churchill and things like that. But you don't think Jackie Gleason was fucking fearless? And that's how he got to be what and where and just did it. We talked about doing a podcast forever. Do we have 10 million subscribers and viewers like Joe Rogan or who else, or whomever? No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're growing.
But my point is, we got off our ass and did it. And there's so much of that doesn't come with instant gratification. But as you start looking back on it, you realize you did it because A, you wanted to, and B, you learned from it, and C, just like we were talking about a certain subject before we started recording, just seeing it through. It's got to make you feel like you're an accomplished person of just being able to see something through, doing what you said, saying what you were going to do, and realizing, God, by God, I did it.
Yep,
we did it.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah. So
that's a good one. Man. And it really, that's what you were talking about. I was thinking about some of the other, because you would call Clint Eastwood, certainly in the era that he came to prominence, an action star, right? Probably. And,
and were those Toscanos you were smoking on those Westerns?
Yeah. That's what I
bet you they were.
Bet they were. All right. So my last one, this is a big one because I know we're not limited to 5, but I want to be around people that made tough decisions and overcame something. That's what I'm interested in at least in this exercise. So I got it narrowed down to 2, but I'm going to go ahead and say the one I think. I think I'd like to sit down with the Apostle Paul.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And here's why. Okay. The Apostle Paul, who named Saul previous to his conversion, was basically the Hitler of the day.
Yeah.
He was murdering the Jews. Okay. What does it take to turn a Saul into a Paul?
Mm.
I want to hear it firsthand. I know it's written. I know it's written down, but all that the Bible has been touched by so many hands, particularly the Roman Catholic Church, and it was selected. So I want to sit down with the man and say, listen, what turned you from an absolute murdering, raging, I hate everything about this to just the opposite overnight.
Oh, the absolute complete
opposite. And not only that, you went from being this guy here, which you could have been successful. You were successful being that guy. And then you 180 and you endure all this. I want to know why. I can read why. I can read it. I can read about Lincoln. I can read about Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But I want to hear it from his. I want to hear it. I want to say, listen, what? Because you know what? We're men of faith. You know, people in the audience don't. It's each your own. Whatever. It depresses me to feel to think that this is all there is. That's one of my driving factors behind it. I'm like, okay, so this is it. But anyway, could be wrong. I want to know what the man. I want to know what changed you from this to that. You know, there's other characters in the Bible that had that kind of change. Barabbas was one. So Barabbas is there, and give the Pontius Pilate gives the crowd the choice. You pick, and they released Barabbas. Right? That's how the story goes. Well, Barabbas went on to be an apostle as well. What caused that? I can read it, but I want to experience it. I want to hear it. It's just like if you have an experience with something, for example, I've had experiences that you can't talk me out of. Okay. I've seen 2 ghosts. Yeah. You're not going to talk me out of it. I don't give a damn what kind of science you throw at me. Or whatever else. You're not going to talk me out of it.
Hey man, I played cards with Bigfoot one night.
Yeah. You know? That's what I'm saying. So,
and not your uncle.
And what it took was an experience, and I want to know what that experience was like.
No, it's interesting.
My other pick was going to be Beethoven.
Oh, wow.
Mainly because his impact on music, obviously, that's the obvious one. But look, man, somebody went deaf.
Yeah.
Deaf. Had that much musicality to be able to write that stuff by just feeling the vibrations, knowing what the notes sounded like. That's different level genius there. That's
I mean, it's kind of like, did he know it just because of that, or did he know it from theory, from the way it looked on the page?
Probably
how
both.
He did, that'd be an incredible one.
There's a movie out, Mozart, that movie Amadeus won an Oscar, multiple Oscars, and it's good. It is. But there's a movie I like better.
Who's that little weird dude that played Mozart? It's not Tim Robbins, but it
reminds me of Tim Robbins.
Yeah, and it kind of almost reminds you of Paul Giamatti in a way. He kind of had that same kind of
look to him.
They had similar features.
Great, that's a great movie. But there's another one about Beethoven called Immortal Beloved that I highly recommend, and it's about Beethoven and talking about his. There's a woman involved, of course. And he was in love with this woman, and it's very well done. But anyway, all these people have the same thing in common. They changed something. They made an impact, a major impact in a lot of these people's case. I mean, even our grandparents made an impact on
absolutely.
us. I didn't even know my granddaddy, right? You didn't know either one of yours. Mm-hmm. What an impact they make. Still talking about them. They've been in the ground 50 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just think that's the kind of thing I want to know. What I can't get in a book, what I can't by reading a secondhand account. I want to hear what happened on the road to Damascus. Tell me. Let me light that for you, and we'll talk about it. Yeah. I want to know. Why did you what made you think to saw off the piano legs and put that so much on the ground to where you could feel the vibrations through the floor? Anyway.
Well, that's our list. final thoughts on I like your list, Jamie. To say that, and
yours is a good one too.
Well, thank you. We would like to know maybe what your list is. Who would you like to sit down and have a cigar with? And it can be anybody. They can be a cigar smoker. They don't have to be a cigar smoker. They can be a long lost relative. It's whomever and whenever and however you would like to pick.
And despite our list, they can be a woman too, because
absolutely.
I tried to come up with some historical females. Like I would love to sit down and have a cigar with my grandmothers because they're both dead.
Yeah.
And I loved them both dearly. I'd like to sit down with Joan of Arc and say, hey, what happened here? I'd like to sit down with Cleopatra. And
you might wind up with snakes coming out of your eyes.
Could possibly.
Beetles running out your butthole.
I've got a good friend right now that's in Egypt, and I've been thinking about that. I'm like, why didn't y'all take over all of Africa?
Yeah.
That's something I don't know. I mean, I
mean, as vast and
they were it for a while.
Well, like the whole continent is so diverse and vast. I mean, there's, I don't know.
I mean, you're right there, I mean, even the Romans didn't really try to take over Egypt, right?
Yeah.
They kind of partnered with them. That's how serious the Egyptians were.
Yeah.
So anyway, I could make a list of 100 very easily, but
oh, sure.
And I'm not saying those are my top 5. Those are the 5 I came up with first. Why Jackie Leeson was the first, I don't know, but
I love that one. I would have never even. I love that one though. My 5th one was a toss up between I'd like to sit down with Tarantino too.
Yeah, that could still be done.
Yeah,
probably.
And that's kind of why I was like, but Clint's. But at any rate, if you liked our list, great. If you didn't, well,
yeah, I'm sorry. Make your own list.
Yeah,
smoke this down to the nub.
Yeah. Final thoughts about the Monte Cristo and Bellicoso 1935 anniversary.
I would say this is probably right now in my top 5 list.
Oh, they're great.
It's fantastic. And, I'm not really, you touched on it, but I'm not a Torpedo Bellicoso person.
Yeah.
And this one's Torpedo and box pressed, and it's a Monte Cristo. I'm not really a Monte Cristo guy either. First time I ever had these, you're like, hey, if they've got those up there, get them. And I got some. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. And now I'm kind of getting we smoked all those.
Yeah. And that was when I didn't really, I was just.
Oh, that was 4 years ago, probably 5
or longer. It was just, I didn't know then what I know now about how to tell what a good cigar is. You know what I mean?
You nailed it on this one.
It was immediate. It was just like, whoa, I don't have to be an expert on that. That's stinking great.
This certainly earned its spot in the top 25 list both times. What do you think about the Broadway?
Man, let's buy some more.
Okay, good.
It's a hit. It is you can tell it's Nicaraguan, but it almost fools you a little bit because it don't have that. It's just now in the final third starting to be on the retro, being pretty spicy, as far as
that's typical.
Peppery. It is very typical. But that inherent sweetness, that broadleaf delivers is all over it.
Good.
Some baking spices, little bit of, it's just great. Try one. I will be anxious to smoke another.
I'm going to smoke mine next.
Yeah, there you go. I'm anxious to smoke another of them. Because I do feel like if you're going to try something, you need to smoke 2 or 3 of them.
I do too. Yeah.
Unless it's just, right away, I am not going to like this. You should probably get 2 or 3. And if you can, buy a couple different sizes as well.
Size
that
matters.
So, but it's a hit. I mean, from the packaging to the construction to the burn to the taste. I'm a big fan of the Broadway.
Okay, good. Because I was hoping you would be.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's very good.
We opened it earlier before we started, and I took a big long whiff of each side, and it's got that funky barnyard kind of whatever that's usually smokes.
Horse shit.
Yeah. Like you just picked it out of an elephant pile of elephant shit. But man, they say it's great.
Hey, you're pushing it with elephant shit.
Oh, yeah, well.
No, great cigars. If you want to find out more about these cigars and others, please visit our website at cigars.
Good Guys Cigars.
Good Guys Cigars.
Yeah, just Google.
Yeah.
Good Guys Cigars.
You'll find it.
And you'll find we're the only one in the world.
We are individually owned. You're looking at the Good Guys. It's just us. We're a small fish in a great, great big pond. And we just have a passion for this and like to pass it along to you. So if you could tell somebody that's really important about it, do that. Again, like, subscribe, notify, all that good stuff. Be kind to one another, folks. It doesn't cost a dime to be kind, but there's a certain price to be paid for cruelty.
That's right. Each
and every time.
I think it's about time to start mentioning at the end of these, because this is, it's mid-September now. And Christmas Spectacular is coming up.
Yes.
Won't be long.
Yeah, Christmas Spectacular. December 22nd at the Bijou Theater, as well as go to our socials and look for us to where the mobile humidor is going to be at. We're going to be making a big presence down at Trailhead with the humidors, with the mobile humidor on game days, on UT game days, and as well as
Saturdays and Sundays.
Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah. So come by, see us, smoke a cigar, watch a ball game, have a beer. Be kind to one another. Jamie, you want to do another one?
Oh, yeah.
You heard it here first. One more for the good guys. Cheers.
I'll be gone in the morning before the sun comes up, with me and my weenie dog and my pickup truck. And either way, baby, a good man, it's hard to find. I said, now either way, baby, a good man, it's hard to find.